it does seem as if there is anti-competitive practices happening in Coles and Woolies. And I mean, we've heard it for, I think, years. Like I remember watching a doco 10 years ago with Woolies doing that thing of the story. Like, nah, this produce isn't good enough. And I think I was listening to a podcast, The Money. I think the ABC do it. And that's where I got that anecdote of how the contract negotiations can work at Coles and Woolworths. And the story was that the farmers, they're the two biggest players. They're 65% of the market share. So if you're a farmer, at least 65% of your produce or a high percentage is going to one of those two guys. If you lose one of those two big guys, you can say goodbye maybe at minimum of 65% of your selling stuff if you don't exclusively sell
heavily to them. And find a different supplier that is more niche for whatever you're doing.
Yeah. And not many options. I think that's the point.
Man.
So they've already got market power.
And so that would also mean that you have to comply to what they want, even if you may not want to grow or farm in the manner that they do. You will go, well, look, I either farm the way they give them the produce they want or I go out of business.
Yes. And that's the imbalance of power that they're talking about. They have an outsized market power. And this is where, like, when you align incentives with Coles and Woolies, because the main problem Australia has, and this is one example of it, is that we have not much competition in our marketplace. So if you're a conservative, you must love the free market. I like the free market. That's fantastic. Australia doesn't have a great free market. We've got kind of 4 big banks that dominate. That's not many. We've got 2 supermarkets that dominate. That's not many. We've got like 1 hardware store that kind of dominates Mitre 10. We've got a few small ones, but we got 1 dominant one. And all that happens, then there's less competition. And so in this Woolworths example,
it's a monopoly.
They have all the power. They go to a farmer, and that was in my video. He goes to the farmer and he's just like, here's an agreement. We're going to agree that you will sell me your stuff. And then the farmer goes, here's the price I'd like. And Woolies gets to go, yeah, nah, we're going to give you this much because we think it's worth that much. And the farmer either gets to say, I'll never sell to you again and go bankrupt, or I say yes to the price. And then they also get to say, and if we don't like it, we'll cancel the shipment last minute. If they don't agree to the price until they buy it. So the farmer goes away, spends $90,000 on crops, finally crops it, bags it in the exact specifications that they want it. He brings it, and then they can go, they can sometimes, I guess, are saying, no, we don't need it anymore. Or they're just saying, we'll give you this much for it. And the farmer kind of has no choice. So that's not a free market, because in a free market, the farmer could say, fine, I'll go sell somewhere else. And when there's a balance of power, negotiation functions and it works. When there's an imbalance of power, when there's a monopoly,
no negotiation's going to work.
One side doesn't get a choice. And so we're wondering in Australia why prices are going up. And this is a lot of my work recently where I've been discovering, I'm not doing the work, I'm just communicating it. But now I think the Reserve Bank even came out and said that 65% of our inflation was driven by corporate profits. And we're being told that, we can't have pay rises because that's going to drive inflation. This is the story we're being told. And the Australia Institute that does research on this stuff, they were saying for about a year, 2 years, corporate profits. They did their studies, their research. And finally, the RBA is going, yeah, it was corporate profits. And the short of it is, why are corporations allowed to just ratchet up prices? Because there's no competition. That's just kind of it.
It's such a monopoly, man. It's like they can do whatever they want. If that's the case, I mean, you can go to the you go.
Oh, I was just going to say, I mean, with the idea of the free market. So a few people text me through and they're like, "Well, just don't shop there." And I believe this is the lie Australians keep being told that allows monopolies to exist. So, and this is what Woolworths say themselves. They go, we got heaps of competition. There's so much competition. Except that you need the right settings and you need the right referee to truly have consumer choice for that to be true. So in many parts of Australia, there is no Aldi to go to. If you're in a kind of city that has some kind of population, you're probably within 10, 15 minutes of an Aldi. But a lot of suburbs are maybe 30 minutes from an Aldi, 40 minutes from an Aldi, or they don't even have an Aldi in their town. So to say to that person, oh, just shop somewhere else, you can't. And that's the thing with market power and dominance. Like Woolworths are doing kind of dodgy. They've been doing dodgy behavior for 10 years, which in some countries is illegal. It's kind of frowned upon in Australia, where they just buy vacant lots and keep it because they know if they left it empty, an Aldi might buy it and then compete right next door. So they just buy the lot, they leave it empty. And that's kind of a dirty practice. It's legal-ish, but it's dirty. And so in that little shopping center, there is now no Aldi.
Oh, yeah, right. That's a trick. They do that in the music industry where there'll be, this is really, it's kind of really sad to do it to an individual, with someone who is an up and coming artist who's doing something cool. A major label will swoop in and wine and dine them and woo them into signing a deal, and then they shelve them because they are in direct competition with an artist they're already putting lots of time and money into.
They just shelve it.
So they just have them on the boil, and this artist's like, I'm gonna make it big soon. Years go by, and they just let them fizzle out. It's what a nasty trick that is, and it's it's so interesting. Yeah, they do it the same thing but
it's the same tactic.
Same tactic. Fuck.
So there's all these
kill tactics, the competition before it exists. You have a lot of.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And I think, I can't remember I saw somewhere that Silicon Valley, like super innovative, all the tech companies come out of that there in America, Google's, Facebook's. There was this time 10, 20 years ago when everything just exploded. Big tech was born. Right now, innovation and new startups in Silicon Valley is at an all-time low because Google, Apple, Meta, and Amazon, anytime there is exactly like you're saying in the music industry, there's an up-and-coming startup that's like, hey, we could actually do quite well here. Instagram is the perfect example. It was the ultimate competitor to Facebook. What did Facebook do? It bought it. And that which it can't buy, it will kill. So you see the battle of Snapchat and Instagram, and Snapchat's still kind of hanging in there. But Instagram will just copy everything it does and just fight it until it eventually kind of dies. And these are dodgy practices that ultimately lead to not a free market. So the thing that, if people who might identify with being more politically conservative, they love the free market, but they don't like the government. That's generally the sentiment. The tough thing to sell to this person is that in order to have a truly free market, you need a strong referee. And the problem in Australia is our referee is weak. So, I forget what happened. I think it was one of the banks, or it was either Woolworths or one of the banks. They were literally found guilty of wage theft over 10 years. Just not paying workers enough and kind of pocketing profits, right? It's just Google wage theft Woolworths or wage theft banks, I think. I can't remember which one. It'll pop up. And they got fined $10 million, right? The largest fine in history for this thing. For them, this is like a speeding ticket of 2 cents. Imagine if you cop pulled you over and said, oh, you're in big trouble, mate. Yeah. You're going to have to give us 5 cents. Oh, no. Oh, officer, I'm so sorry. Here's 5 cents. Like, that's literally what's happening. Yeah. So if you want a free market, unfortunately, you need a strong referee